In today's world, it's easy to confuse being agreeable with being liked. Many women are raised to be pleasant, accommodating, and endlessly available, at the cost of their boundaries, time, and even self-respect. But elegant, emotionally grounded women have learned something powerful: you don't have to be nice to be respected. You don't have to say yes to everything, smile through disrespect, or explain yourself to anyone. These women embody a new form of grace, one that includes boundaries. And they show us that elegance isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about standing calmly and clearly in your own self-worth. Today, we're exploring the 10 powerful things graceful, self-led women simply don't do, and how those silent boundaries become the source of their presence, magnetism, and peace. The art of saying no. How elegant women set boundaries without guilt. Welcome to a La Mode where life meets style. If you're looking for a place to unwind, learn, and grow, hit that subscribe button and join our incredible community. 1. They know what they stand for. Elegant women don't live on autopilot or absorb the opinions of everyone around them. They've taken the time to define what matters to them, personally, professionally, morally. They know their non-negotiables and their guiding values. And because of this, their decisions feel grounded. Their yes means something. Their no comes without apology. This clarity creates quiet confidence. She doesn't need to broadcast her beliefs or debate to prove her point. She simply embodies what she stands for, through how she spends her time, how she speaks, and what she refuses to tolerate. And when you know what you stand for, you're no longer afraid to stand alone. 2. They use gentle but firm language. Graceful women have mastered the art of non-reactive communication. They don't lash out or freeze up when setting boundaries, they simply state their truth with softness and strength. For example, instead of saying, "Don't talk to me like that," she might say, "I'm not available for conversations that feel disrespectful." She doesn't yell. She doesn't apologize for her boundary. She's not emotionally rattled, she's centered. Her language is deliberate, elegant, and emotionally clean. And because of that, people remember her, and think twice before crossing her. 3. They release the guilt. This is one of the most radical things a woman can do, to stop carrying guilt for simply honoring her energy. She doesn't feel bad for saying no, turning down an invitation, asking for more pay, or needing space. She's moved past the belief that she owes the world constant access or emotional labor. She knows that guilt is not proof of goodness, it's often just a leftover emotion from being conditioned to overextend. So instead of shrinking, apologizing, or second-guessing herself, she checks in with her integrity, and lets go of the rest. This is why she feels so light, so free. Because she isn't performing. She's simply living in truth, without the emotional tax. 4. They don't entertain energy drains. High-value women are intuitive with their energy. They can walk into a room and sense who uplifts them, and who drains them. And they honor that feeling. They don't stay in one-sided conversations, emotionally exhausting friendships, or workplaces that celebrate burnout. They've stopped forcing connections. Stopped over-explaining. Stopped chasing people who only respond when it's convenient for them. And instead of confronting every drain, they simply disengage silently. They exit group chats that feel chaotic. They stop replying to emotionally manipulative texts. They create physical, emotional, and digital boundaries that protect their peace. They've realized that who you allow into your space becomes part of your reality. So they guard that space like the sacred sanctuary it is. 5. They know when to pause. Graceful women aren't always on. They don't feel the pressure to be productive, performative, or perfect 24/7. Instead, they allow space. Space to think. To feel. To reset. If they feel overwhelmed, they pause. If a conversation feels heated, they pause. If a major life decision looms, they don't rush, they retreat, reflect, and return grounded. They've mastered the sacred art of the pause. Because they know that silence is often more powerful than words. And that waiting doesn't mean weakness, it means emotional maturity. This calm, deliberate rhythm sets them apart. It's why people feel safe around them. And why their decisions hold so much weight. They're never impulsive. They're intentional. 6. They don't let guilt hijack their calendar. A high-value woman's time is her most valuable resource. She doesn't fill her schedule out of obligation, people-pleasing, or FOMO. She's selective. If an invitation doesn't align with her values or energy, she declines it, with kindness, but without guilt. She doesn't say yes just to be polite. She doesn't overbook herself just to feel needed. And she doesn't sacrifice her rest just to prove she's productive. Because she knows this truth, every yes you give out of guilt is a no to something you truly need. Whether that's sleep, silence, a deep conversation, or simply a moment of peace. She moves through her days with sovereignty, not obligation. That's how she remains magnetic, not by doing more, but by doing what matters. 7. They practice the soft exit. There's a quiet power in knowing when to leave without drama. High-value women don't explode, ghost, or seek revenge. They exit gently, but permanently. When a friendship becomes toxic, they don't initiate a grand confrontation. They slowly reduce access. When a job becomes misaligned, they plan their next move with discretion. When a date shows signs of manipulation, they gracefully disappear. They don't owe long explanations for self-preservation. They don't stay in situations that require them to beg for basic respect. The soft exit is elegant, non-reactive, and rooted in self-respect. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply leave. Quietly. Completely. And never return. 8. They choose long-term peace over short-term approval. High-value women don't contort themselves to be liked in the moment. They've lived through the cost of being agreeable at their own expense. And they've outgrown it. They no longer say yes just to avoid awkwardness. They no longer stay quiet just to keep the peace. They no longer sacrifice their values for temporary validation. Because they understand, what feels good short-term can often create chaos long-term. And what feels uncomfortable now, setting a boundary, speaking your truth, walking away, often leads to deep, lasting peace. They are okay with being misunderstood. They can handle someone else's discomfort. Because they are not performing for applause. They're anchored in inner approval, and that's what gives them true power. 9. They set boundaries at work, without drama. Graceful women aren't passive at work. They're clear. They don't play the cool girl who accepts being overworked and undercredited. And they don't use emotion as a weapon, they use clarity as their shield. When someone oversteps, they respond directly, "This deadline doesn't work for me. Here's what I can offer. This isn't part of my scope, but I'm happy to assist within reason. I'm unavailable for that time. Let's find a mutually workable slot." No raised voices. No guilt trips. No passive aggression. Just boundaries, stated calmly. They've realized that dignity at work isn't loud. It's the quiet, consistent choice to protect your time, your energy, and your worth. Without ever needing to explain why. 10. They don't apologize for protecting their energy. You'll never hear a high-value woman say, "Sorry I couldn't reply, I was overwhelmed. Sorry for taking time for myself. Sorry for resting." She understands that energy is currency, and hers is not for casual withdrawal. She's not available 24/7. She doesn't engage out of guilt. And she doesn't let others dictate how accessible she should be. She takes slow mornings, phone-free nights, mental health days. And she doesn't feel the need to justify it. Because she knows, when you protect your energy, you protect your life's direction, and the people meant for her won't take it personally. They'll respect her even more for honoring herself. To sum up, a high-value woman isn't always the loudest voice in the room. She's not the one who overshares, overexplains, or overworks. She's the one who knows when to speak, when to step back, and when to leave. She leads with softness, but she is not weak. She is warm, but she is not available to everyone. She is calm, but her standards are non-negotiable. Her power doesn't come from dominance. It comes from discernment. She doesn't need to prove her worth. She embodies it. Because when a woman chooses peace over performance, boundaries over burnout, and self-respect over social approval, she becomes unforgettable. Which of these 10 quiet behaviors resonated with you most? Tell us in the comments, we read every one. Thank you for tuning in, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe for more discussions.